Hello, my dear listeners, and welcome back to the Kapeel Gupta Career Pod Show. And this is the third episode of With You Conversations. So today, I want you to imagine a student sitting at a desk at 1:17 in the morning. The books are open, the laptop is on, the phone is face down because the student has watched enough productivity reels to know that this looks disciplined. Now, there is coffee beside the notebook, there's a timetable on the wall, and there's an exam date in the mind, and yet nothing is moving. The student is not sleeping, but is not studying properly either. The same paragraph has been read 4 times. A simple message from a friend feels irritating. The thought of opening another mock test creates heaviness, and somewhere inside, a quiet voice asks, why am I becoming lazy when my dream matters so much? Now imagine a young professional in Gurugram. Good company, decent salary, busy calendar, impressive LinkedIn profile. Every morning begins with messages, meetings, targets, and a strong promise. Today, I'll manage better. By evening, the mind is blank, the shoulders are tight, and even choosing dinner feels like a board meeting. On Sunday, instead of feeling rested, the person feels guilty for not being productive. Now, both people may be dealing with something we often misunderstand: burnout. Now, this episode is called Burnout Nobody Talks About because burnout does not always arrive dramatically. It does not always make you collapse at your desk. Sometimes it looks like delay. Sometimes it looks like anger. And sometimes it looks like losing interest in a dream you once loved. Or sometimes it looks like saying, I'm fine, just tired for 6 months. In India, we often hide it by calling it pressure, adjustment, hard work, or bas thoda phase chal rahe hain. We wear exhaustion like a medal and mistake balance for laziness. But balance is sustainability. Hi, I'm Kapeel Gupta, career coach, life mentor, graphotherapist, and founder of Study Abroad Academy and WithYou.space. For over 2 decades, I've been helping students, parents, and young professionals gain clarity, confidence, and direction in life and career through deep coaching, mindset transformation, and the powerful practice of graphotherapy. Because success is not just about choosing the right course or building the right career. It's about becoming the right person, nurturing meaningful relationships, and creating a life that feels peaceful, purposeful, and truly your own. And that's what this podcast is all about. And today, in our With You conversation series, we are going beyond careers and achievements because sometimes what we need most is not advice, but understanding. Not solutions, but someone who listens. So let's slow down, have a meaningful conversation, and remember ourselves that no one should have to carry everything alone. So before we go deeper, let's understand one important fact. The World Health Organization formally describes burnout in the occupational context. It links burnout with chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed and describes 3 broad features: exhaustion, growing mental distance, or cynicism towards work, and reduced professional effectiveness. Students can also experience burnout like exhaustion from long term academic pressure, although that is not the exact formal WHO category. Now, this conversation is not about giving yourself a label after one difficult week. It's about noticing patterns early and taking responsible action before constant pressure becomes normal. Let me tell you about Ara. Ara was preparing for a competitive exam. He'd always been known as sincere. His parents trusted him. His relatives regularly asked, "Preparation kaisi chal rahi hai?" Which is a question that looks small but can carry the weight of a full suitcase. For the first few months, Arav worked with energy. He made notes, joined test series, and even explained difficult topics to friends. Then something changed. He still sat at the desk, but his focus became weaker. He started postponing mock tests because he did not want to see a low score. Small sounds annoyed him. His sleep became irregular. He stopped answering friends because every conversation felt like another task. When his mother asked whether he wanted tea, he replied sharply and then felt guilty. Everyone thought he needed more discipline. Arav thought the same. So he increased his study hours. And that is one of the strangest things about burnout. When the system is overloaded, we often punish it with more load. So, coming to the hidden signs of burnout. The first sign nobody talks about is not always tiredness. Sometimes it's a loss of meaning. You're still doing the work, but you no longer feel connected to why you began. The dream that once gave you energy now feels like a burden sitting on your chest. An exam aspirant stops feeling curious and begins seeing every chapter as an enemy. A young professional stops caring about quality and starts counting hours until logout. A founder who once loved the idea now feels irritated whenever a customer sends a message. Another hidden sign is irritability. A small delay feels personal. A harmless question feels like an attack. You snap at people who support you and then feel guilty. Sometimes you're not becoming bad, you are becoming overloaded. Then comes procrastination. We usually think procrastination means laziness, but an exhausted brain can delay a task because it has started connecting that task with fear, pressure, or failure. You may clean your desk, arrange folders, and watch strategy videos and make a beautiful timetable while avoiding the one thing that actually matters. This is not always lack of seriousness. It can be emotional avoidance wearing productivity clothes. Burnout can also show up physically. Sleep may become disturbed, headaches may become frequent, your body may feel heavy even after rest. Digestion may change. You may clench your jaw or carry tension in your neck and shoulders. None of these symptoms proves burnout by itself, and they can have many other causes. And that is why persistent symptoms deserve proper medical or mental health support, not internet self diagnosis. Another sign is emotional flatness. Good news does not excite you, breaks do not refresh you, and even affection feels like effort. You feel less alive inside your own life. This is what happened to Ara. He was not refusing his dream, his system for asking for recovery. But because nobody had taught him the language of burnout, he interpreted every warning as a character flaw. And here's a simple action you can take. For 1 week, stop asking only, "How many hours did I work?" and ask three better questions. How was my energy? How was my focus? And how did I behave with people? Output can hide burnout, but behavior often reveals it. So now we need to talk about the Indian pressure cooker. Because burnout does not grow only inside one person, it also grows inside the expectations around that person. In many Indian homes, a career is not only a career, it's family security, social respect, parental sacrifice, future marriage value, and one aunt's favorite comparison topic, all packed into one decision. A student preparing for IITJ is not just solving physics. The student may feel they are carrying the family's hope of upward mobility. A UPSC aspirant is not just studying polity, they may feel they are carrying respect, stability, and years of public expectation. A young professional is not only meeting deadlines, they may also be expected to earn more, support the family, buy a home, get married at the correct age, and remain cheerful during all of it. No pressure, just an entire civilization sitting lightly on your shoulder. The problem begins when love gets expressed only through performance. We believe in you, slowly becomes, you must not disappoint us. Then rest feels like betrayal, changing direction feels like failure, and asking for help feels ungrateful.
Do you know that feeling you get when you score front row seats to a Broadway show? Well, this is kind of like that, except you don't have to leave your couch. This week on Laugh, Love, Law, I'm hanging out with Broadway superstar Lady Hanau. And trust me, we go way beyond the standing ovations. We laugh, we get real, we swap stories, and yes, there might even be a little singing. So grab your headphones and join us for an episode full of laughter, heart, music, and a little Broadway magic.
Social media adds petrol to this pressure cooker. One person posts an IIT result, another announces an internship, someone moves abroad, someone gets promoted, someone says they built a startup at 19 while you're still trying to remember your DigiLocker password. Your mind knows social media is selective, but your emotions still compare your full life with someone else's edited trailer. Soon you stop respecting your own pace, chase routines made for strangers, and feel guilty during every break. The World Health Organization says 1 in 7 young people aged 10 to 19 experiences a mental health condition. That statistic is not the same as burnout, but it reminds us that young minds are carrying serious emotional pressure. Anxiety, depression, and behavioral difficulties can affect education, relationships, and future opportunities. We must stop treating every mental health struggle as attention seeking or weakness. Arab's father finally noticed that the boy was no longer discussing ideas. He was only reporting ours. Instead of saying, work harder, he asked, are you scared? That question opened the door. Arab admitted that every mock test felt like a verdict on the family's future. Sometimes recovery begins when the pressure gets its real name. And here's the practical step for families and students: separate the person from the result. Say it clearly. This exam matters, but you matter more. This job matters, but it's not your full identity. We can change the plan without calling the whole life a failure. Now, these sentences create oxygen. Now, the third part of burnout nobody talks about is the worship of overwork. We live in a time where being busy has become a personality. Students proudly say they slept for 4 hours. Young professionals reply to emails at midnight as if the company will name a building after them. Startup founders post, sleep is for the weak, and then wonder why their decision making feels like a low battery phone. Hustle can be useful for a season, but a season cannot become your climate. The World Health Organization and the International Labour Organization estimated that working at least 55 hours a week contributed to hundreds of thousands of deaths from stroke and heart diseases in 2016. That research is about long working hours in adults, not exam preparation, but the lesson is clear. Chronic overwork is not a harmless badge of honor. The ILO has also reported that more than one-third of workers globally regularly work for 48 hours a week. Yet longer hours do not automatically mean better output. A student can study for 12 hours and retain less than another student who studied for 6 focused hours, sleeps properly, and revises intelligently. A professional can stay online all evening and still produce poor decisions because the brain has stopped cooperating. Time at the desk is not the same as useful work. Work life balance does not mean dividing every day perfectly. Some seasons will be heavy, Balance means recovery is built into your system and work does not consume every relationship, meal, Sunday, and thought before sleep. A Formula One car does not become weak because it takes a pit stop. The pit stop is what allows it to stay in the race. But human beings sometimes behave as if stopping for 20 minutes will destroy their ambition. Ara began changing his routine. He reduced fake study hours and increased focused blocks. He started walking in the evening without listening to lectures. At first, he felt guilty. Then his concentration improved. The guilt slowly lost its argument. And here's the reaction. Define a daily stopping point. Decide when study or work ends, even if every task is not complete. There will always be another chapter, another email, and another improvement. Without a stopping point, your brain never receives the message that it is safe to recover. And the fourth issue is silence. Many people recognize burnout only after it becomes severe because they are afraid of how others will react. Students fear being called undisciplined. Professionals fear looking unreliable. Men are often told to be strong, and women may be expected to manage ambition, family emotion, and social expectations without complaint. Everyone keeps saying, manage kar lo. Very few ask what all this managing is doing to the person. The World Health Organization does not classify burnout as a medical condition. It describes it as an occupational phenomenon. But that does not make suffering unreal. It simply means burnout has a specific formal meaning. Also, symptoms such as persistent low mood, severe anxiety, sleep problems, hopelessness, or loss of function can overlap with other mental or physical health conditions. And that is why talking to a qualified professional matters. Therapy is not a punishment for people who failed to cope. It is one form of structured support. Counseling is not proof that your family failed. Asking for help does not cancel your strength. In fact, asking early often prevents a larger breakdown later. We must also become better listeners. When someone says, I'm exhausted, do not compete or dismiss it with everyone has pressure. Sometimes the most helpful response is simply, tell me more. Not every workplace or family will respond perfectly, so choose a safe person, a trusted adult, mentor, qualified counselor, psychologist, doctor, or support service. If you feel unsafe or have thoughts of self harm, seek urgent professional or emergency support immediately. And that is why we have created a beautiful platform called WithYou.space. If you want, someone should be there to hear you out. There should be a safe place, a safe person who can simply understand without passing any judgment. Go to WithYou.space and register yourself and share what you want. Your action here is simple. Choose one safe person and speak before you reach breaking point. You do not need a perfect speech. Begin with, I have not been feeling like myself lately. And now, let us talk about recovery. Because awareness without action can become another podcast saved and forgotten. Recovery from burnout is not usually one dramatic holiday where you return as a completely new person. A weekend trip may help, but you cannot spa day your way out of a system that keeps hurting you. Real recovery needs both rest and change. Start with boundaries. A boundary is not a rude wall. It's a limit that protects what matters. No mock test discussion during dinner, no routine work messages after a fixed hour, or no unpaid extra work for every client. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries may dislike them, but that does not make the boundary wrong. Next, rebuild sleep. Sleep is not leftover time after productivity, it's a biological need. Keep a consistent sleep and wake time as far as possible. Reduce screens before bed. Do not use late night anxiety as proof of dedication. A tired brain turns small problems into national emergencies. Then try a digital detox, but make it realistic. You do not need to throw your phone into the Yamuna. Start with one phone free meal, the first 20 minutes after waking, or a fixed evening window. Social media is not evil, but constant comparison does not allow the mind to recover. Journaling can also help. Write three short paragraphs: what drained me today, what gave me energy, and what needs to change. This helps you notice whether the problem is only workload or also fear, lack of control, conflict, confusion, or perfectionism. Use mindfulness, yoga, or meditation as practices, not performance. 10 slow breaths, a short walk, prayer, or quiet time can help you settle. Choose what is meaningful and accessible. When family space feels safe, spend time together without discussing marks, salary, or marriage. Human connection reminds the nervous system that life is larger than the current target. Reduce the size of your next step. Read 2 pages, reply to an email, or take one mock section. Recovery grows through manageable wins, not heroic comebacks. Most importantly, examine the system. If a course, job, exam plan, or environment keeps damaging your health, you may need a change schedule, new support, different expectations, or even a career rethink. Rest helps you return. Change decides what you're returning to. Arav did not quit his goal, but he changed his relationship with it. He stopped treating every low score as an identity statement. He began speaking honestly with his family. He used focused study blocks, proper sleep, and weekly recovery time. He also met a counselor to work through fear and perfectionism. Slowly, his motivation returned, not like fireworks, more like sunrise. That is how recovery often looks: quiet, gradual, real. So, what is the burnout nobody talks about? It is the burnout hidden behind achievement. The student attending coaching every day but feeling empty inside. The young professional receiving praise and losing sleep. The person who is not collapsing but is slowly disconnecting from joy, people, and purpose. Burnout does not mean you are broken. It does not always mean you chose the wrong dream. It may mean the way you are carrying that dream is no longer sustainable. You do not need to earn rest by destroying yourself first. You do not need to prove ambition through suffering, and you do not need to wait until your body forces a pause that your mind kept refusing. Success is not only reaching the destination, it's arriving with health, relationships, and inner life left to enjoy it. So, here is one small change I want you to adopt today. Before sleeping tonight, take one page, write 2 sentences. The first sentence is: the biggest thing draining me right now is, and complete it. And the second sentence is: one boundary or change I can make this week is, and then complete it. Then do not merely admire the page. Take one action within 24 hours. Cancel one unnecessary commitment. Ask for help. Move your phone away from the bed. Speak to your family. Book support. Create a stopping time. Begin with one honest change. And now let me speak directly to the student, parent, or young professional listening to this episode. Sometimes burnout grows because you are working hard in a direction that does not truly fit you. Sometimes the real problem is not a lack of discipline, but career confusion, unrealistic expectations, the wrong study strategy, or a future that has been chosen by everyone except you. Through my career counseling program, I help students and career aspirants understand their strengths, interests, personality, values, and real opportunities. Together, we build a practical career roadmap so that effort has a direction and ambition does not become blind pressure. If you're feeling stuck between courses, careers, colleges, competitive exams, or study abroad options, message me the word clarity. Let us understand what is truly right for you before confusion turns into exhaustion. And please remember, career counseling supports career clarity and decision making. If your symptoms are severe, persistent, or affecting daily functioning, connect with a qualified mental health professional or doctor as well. Getting the right help is not weakness, it's wisdom. So, this is Kapeel Gupta. You're listening to the Kapeel Gupta Career Pod Show. And remember, don't forget to explore WithYou.space. Yes, burnout does not mean you're broken, it means something in your life needs attention. Pause without guilt, recover with intention, change what needs changing, and then rise. Not as the same exhausted person, but as someone wiser, steadier, and stronger.